homeowners, it's not a question of if, but when the next hurricane will come. No matter what Florida weather has in store, Storm Smart has products that protect every opening of your home while improving the look, feel, and function. From durable aluminum shutters, high-impact windows and doors, to our innovative storm catcher screens, products that enhance the beauty of your home and keep your family safe. Because Smart is complete hurricane protection, and Smart is peace of mind. Call Storm Smart today for your free in-home consultation.
When your power goes out, remember just how inconvenient your life can be. No lights, no refrigeration, no heating or cooling, no electronics. But with the Generac Home Standby Generator, you'll have power when you need it. Our Generac generators automatically provide backup power after sensing a power outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Get a free 10-year warranty with the purchase of any air-cooled generator. Call Generac Generators today. Generac Generators. Life is primitive without power.
Streaming from the Tampa Bay 28 Weather Center in Studio A, this is Dennis Phillips Live. Brought to you by Storm Smart. Protect every opening of your home. And Generac Generators. Life is primitive without power.
How you doing, everybody? It is a Thursday night edition of Dennis Phillips Live. For folks who are watching on streaming and on socials as opposed to the spot, you may have noticed I changed up a little countdown. See, the way this works, if you're watching on TV, we start the stream at about 25 after. But I'm going to tell you, so for the last 5 months, literally every day after our show runs on socials, I get a copyright infringement violation coming up from Facebook because of this song, the music, the little theme song thing, whatever it is. It's called Brass News, all right? And the station pays for the rights to that, but for whatever reason, those little invisible bots that are out there doesn't realize that the station has paid for this, and I get this copyright hit every time. So literally, for the Facebook stream to keep working fine, I have to continue every day to do these disputes. And I'm done. I'm tired of doing it. So I just bypassed the Brass News music, and we'll see if I get another copyright hit after this show. Now, this doesn't impact the TV folks, but it drives me crazy. So, so there you go. So it may look a little bit different. That is why it looked a little different. We have already got dense fog advisories in effect. So how many of y'all woke up this morning and you go outside and you're like, whoa, this is really foggy. I didn't expect this. So Paul Agrone actually even said that on TV today. And I'm like, if I had my ban button with me over at the green wall, I would have just hit it over and over again because I literally said it 11 billion times. Matter of fact, I got into it a little bit with somebody on Facebook because they're like, how come you're the only person that's saying it's going to fog? Well, be it's fog. First of all, I wasn't. Pretty well, and I don't know what everybody else said because I didn't pay any attention, but I'm pretty sure everybody said fog. So I went in and I'm like being my little snide, sarcastic self when somebody says dumb things like that. I didn't ban them because they weren't rude. See, again, I'm okay with folks disagreeing. I'm okay with folks doing whatever they want to, as long as they're not rude and as long as they don't talk politics and all that other nonsense, because then you get the ban button. And I have no regrets, nor do I have any qualms of doing said thing. Now, Greg D was on the show months ago, and Greg's like, I don't want to use the ban button as much. But you know what? Inside information, like after he's done it for a week or two, if I'm on vacation, he's like, Dennis, I'm ready to get the ban button out. So it does happen. But anyway, as I was saying, I get my Diet Dr. Pepper ready. Ban button in hand. If you're watching on the spot, the Bolts are on a break. Now, by the way, you may have noticed the U.S. hockey team did start their quest for the gold with a 5-1, I believe it was a 5-1 victory over Latvia. I believe it's who they played today. So if you were here last night, we were talking with Matthew Garon, who handles a lot of the Bolts youth hockey development. And he was a goalie for the Bolts and was also a goalie for the Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins, which when we talked about that last night, I'm like, dude, I hated the Penguins when I was a youngster because I liked the Capitals. I was a big Caps fan growing up in the Northern Virginia area. So I like the Caps. So, but, you know, I'm sure professional athletes get that a lot, right? Because when they play for a team that you, like anybody who does not like the Yankees, if you played for the Yankees, they don't like them, and vice versa. If they played for the Red Sox and you like the Yankees, same thing. Speaking of baseball, and we are going to talk more about all the stuff that's going on here, but speaking of baseball, I'm going to throw in my 2 cents on something. I don't mean for it to sound negative, because it's not negative at all, but I want y'all to have a realistic expectation of what could and did happen last year in terms of the Rays yard sale that they did for charity. Now, Sean Daly did a little something on it today and talked about it, and I'm just going to give you my suggestion slash experience last year. So was it last year or 2 years ago? I guess it would have been 2 years ago. Wow, time flies, right? Yeah, because I guess they wouldn't have had it last year because there were no games over there. Maybe they, yeah, I guess, wow, 2 years ago. Joel, how you doing? So anyway, Saturday from 1 to 5 at the Trop, they are going to be having, for charity, they're going to be having their yard sale. And what they did, was that 2 years ago? I can't believe that. I guess it had to have been. Anyway, they had this yard sale thing, and they've got all this stuff. Now, the way it worked before is you paid X number of dollars. I don't remember how much it was. I think it was 20 bucks. And they give you a bag, right? And then you go in, and you can fill that bag with as much stuff as you can fit into that bag that's from on all the tables under the tents, okay? It's awesome. You know, it's a lot of the stuff that maybe didn't get given out on promo nights or giveaway nights, right? So, and what they did is the money raised went for charity. So it's awesome. Great idea, right? And they also gave a little card. I don't know if they're doing this year, but they gave a little card that allowed you to use it for a couple of free tickets for some games. And they were at Steinbrenner. So it had to be last year. It had to be last year. Because that was at Steinbrenner, and last year was at Steinbrenner, and the tickets were used for Steinbrenner. So it had to be last year. But I was going to say, it just didn't seem like it was 2 years ago. I digress. Anyway, here's my point of this monologue. If you are going to go, and you're a Rays fan, and I think it's awesome if you're going to go, but I'm telling you, when I went, it wasn't the fact that there were a lot of people. It was the fact that there were a lot of people trying to all get the same stuff at the same time, and it got terse. There were fistfights. I'm not lying. I saw 3 fistfights right in front of me from people who were trying to get whatever stuff was right there. And there's lots of tables. I mean, these tables went under 3 tents. It was a lot of stuff. But I'm just saying, if you're going and you're bringing kids with you, just be ready. Be ready to rumble, because it was a thing. Now, I'm hoping this year it will not be a thing. I would not want to discourage people from going because it's a fun event and, you know, and it's for charity. But if you're going to go, here's my strong suggestion. Get there early, all right? I think it's running from 1 to 5 on Valentine's Day on Saturday, all right? So if you get there, and people will be lining up, I guarantee you, well over an hour beforehand. So if you want your best pick of all the stuff they have, right, okay, get there well before 1 o'clock. I mean, I think I got there 20 minutes before, and there were still 500 people in front of me. And what they did is they let maybe like 30 people in at a time, and the goal was it would keep everybody lined up that way. But what happened is they would let people in, but then as it went through, people were just staying. And I'm not going to lie. Somebody was trying to, I don't know, I think it was like a little plastic cup, and somebody else had their hand on it, and they're just going at it. So The way to avoid such tomfoolery and shenanigans and nonsense, go early, and then you'll get your choice of whatever you want. And if you decide to go over and go later, I'm just saying, be ready. It's just all I'm saying. All right. It was crazy. All right, so that is going on Saturday afternoon. Saturday night, the Santiago Night Parade over in Ybor. So if you've never been, it's like Gasparilla, but it's closer to maybe the Mardi Gras type of Gasparilla. It is a wild time. It is, so there's the kids parade, the children's parade, the week before Gasparilla, right? And then there's regular Gasparilla, the pirate invasion. And then there's a little saucier version, which would be the Santiago Night Parade. And it is far more like Mardi Gras, where people will be far more likely to do saucier things to get beads. Letting you know that. So if you're planning, and it's a blast. I've gone several times. We had a float in it one year at the station. We just did it one year. Floated one year. Little Wendy Ryan almost got swept away because Wendy's little. And literally, it is a great time, but it is definitely, well, you know what I'm saying. Right. So that's Saturday. That is Valentine's Day night. And then, of course, Sunday, the Daytona 500. Now, when we come back, we're going to start talking about our fog, our advisories, and we're going to talk about the rain chances for the 500. Because if I were a betting man, and I'm not necessarily sure I would make this wager, but I would not be the least bit surprised if the 500 start time is bumped up an hour or two. Would not be surprised at all because of the possibility of rain. So we'll talk about that. We'll show you where the dense fog advisories are. We'll talk about tomorrow morning. That's all in 90 seconds as Dennis Phillips Live continues. Guys, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about when I start this show. You know this. And I had to get on that tangent. I had to. Because I'm literally standing right here. And there's a table right next to me. And I've got Ryan. And I've got my kids with me, like 3 or 4 of them. And there's just people yelling and fighting over, I don't know, a plastic cup or something. And it was ridiculous. So, not saying don't go to the event, because I love, you guys know me, I'm a big Rays guy. That's probably my team more than any in the Bay Area over the years. My son is in the Rays Wall of Fame. One of the original, the only surviving, mind you, inductee of the Rays Wall of Fame, of the original Rays Wall of Fame back when the team started. So we are a big Rays family. I'm going away on vacation, and I'm driving back early to see Longo have his number retired at the Trop on July 12th. So we are a big Rays family. But I'm just saying, if you're going to go to this event on Saturday, be ready. Be ready to rumble. That's all I'm saying. It was last year. Yeah, it had to be, because it was Steinbrenner thing. All right. We are back in 3, 2. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Dennis Phillips Live. All right, let's talk about some weather, shall we? We'll do some hellos. Janice, how you doing? Done with the cold weather? I don't think so, but we are for the next 2 weeks. I'll show you that map in just a second. And yeah, the event was last year. I knew it was because the free tickets were for Steinbrenner, and so it had to be last year. Bonnie, how you doing? Good to see you. Red, good to see you. Friday Friday the 13th is tomorrow, and it will start out rather foggy across the area. So Kevin, how you doing? Good to see you. Tammy, nice to see you. So Mary Ellen, as always. Lisa and Anna Maria. So are the Oscars? No. What are the Oscars? They're the end of the month, aren't they? They have to be. There's no way. They're March 16th. I was going to say, Red, I'm not sure what you were referring to, but yeah, the Oscars are March 16th. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about some weather. We're going to start with my buddy Mike Boylan. I posted this on Facebook. Mike is headed over to Daytona for the race. I think there's a Mike's Weather page car on Saturday for Saturday's race. And but he was over watching his daughter Emmy playing softball over in Claremont this afternoon and caught this rainbow, which is pretty cool. All right, there's the new drought numbers. You notice what was abnormally dry in northeastern Polk is now under a moderate drought. The entire Bay Area is now under a drought. Barb says that event at the Trop sounds like the free sample line at Costco. You know what, Barb? That is a perfect analogy. You win. You win. That is absolutely true. Mike Cruz, Mike, how are you doing? Good to see you. All right, so there's a look at the advisory. Notice the gray shaded area. Sea fog has already been moving onshore. Already been doing it, all right? There's a dense fog advisory for all of Pinellas, for coastal Hillsborough, coastal Manatee County, and I think it's pretty likely this will be expanded. Katie, I would absolutely like some fog video from Tierra Verde if you have it. Send it to my messages and I will show it. Matter of fact, that is like a new big thing that we're trying to do. We're really trying to incorporate y'all in terms of video and pictures as weather event or as anything else goes on. This is a new and a really important direction that our station and company are headed for. It's all about the community. And you guys know me, I'm always out at community events and we're always doing stuff. I mean, see, here's the difference. I love doing it. I mean, you know this about me. I love doing that stuff. So the fact that it's a kind of a direction that Scripps is looking to involve y'all and have us so active in the community, they're preaching to the choir on this one. I've always thought that's what local broadcast has to be. For local TV news to remain relevant, it has to be local TV news. And I think over the years that has strayed at times. We're dealing with national and international stuff. Y'all can get national and international stuff anywhere. Local is what makes us relevant. And I think that is just 100% true. All right, so there's a look at radar. There are a few showers over on the East Coast. Temperatures right now, upper 60s to lower 70s. And this morning, we started mostly in the 50s. We had widespread dense fog. Yeah, Jules, I will be there for that Longo banner raising. I'm going to have to drive 17 hours to get there, but I'm doing it. Yeah, Kevin, they did do something like that when he threw out the first pitch over at Steinbrenner, but they're putting him in the Hall of Fame for the Rays as well as the No, I'm not confusing that, Sandy. Trust me, I know what it was. It was the yard sale, and that yard sale is, again, they had one yesterday, they had one last year, and they have another one tomorrow. It's also at the Trop. So there are the highs, upper 70s to low 80s, 69 degrees, partly cloudy right now. The dew point is high, as you would expect. And yeah, it is going to be foggy in the morning. Now, right downtown, it isn't. You can still see across the bay. 77 right now. That was the high, rather. The morning low dropped down to 59. So there's a look at the satellite and the radar. Yeah, there will be a yard sale tomorrow from 1 to 5, as there was last year, rather. Hopefully it'll be a bit more organized. That's just all I'm saying, because it was craziness. All right, there's Futurecast. I'll show you the fog visibility is coming up in a second. But we're dry up until Sunday afternoon. And when I look at the models in a little bit, I'll show you that, because that's going to be the big question mark for the 500. Tomorrow morning, we start mostly in the 50s, even some lower 60s in St. Pete. There's the visibility. Tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. along the coast, visibility near 0. All right, there it is. And I'll go ahead and go hour by hour for you here so you can kind of get an idea. I don't think it'll be quite as widespread as it was this morning, but it is certainly going to continue to be very foggy through the middle morning hours. I think Greg's working tomorrow. I think Allie's off, and I think Shay's off. So I think it'll be Greg and I handling the social media duties tomorrow and into the afternoon as well. There's 10 o'clock, 11 in the morning, and then, boom, it burns off. Saturday morning, and by the way, look at the sea fog rolling in the coast tomorrow evening. See that? But it will not be as foggy on Saturday morning as it will be tomorrow or as it was this morning. Tomorrow morning will still be foggy, but it will be warm, significantly warmer. We will not drop below 70 degrees for the next 10 days, and maybe even longer than that. But there is the rain forecast. Sunday afternoon or early evening, northern counties. Monday morning, southern counties, as it moves on through. And there's your 2-week forecast, which brings us well above average right on through the period. So there's your forecast. Fog with evergreen trees. I don't know why. I tried to talk to the graphic artist people about that. Guys, we don't have those kind of trees in Florida when it's foggy, but whatever. And there it is. The 7-day, there. Oh, you had some rain, Tammy. You had a little bit of rain in DeSoto. That's awesome. Marilyn wants to know about super fog. You know what? We are going to talk more about super fog after this break. But there is that 7-day where it will be warm right on through the period, all right? So next segment, we'll take a look at the models for Daytona. And you know what? We'll talk about super fog. That, as Dennis Phillips Live continues. Okay, so I have 90 seconds to create a super fog graphic. So let's see. I'll show you what I'm doing on here. So let's go ahead and pop the super fog WSI on here. My heavens. I'm wasting time so you can see everything, and it's going to cost me. Oh, boy. It's going to cost me. There we go. All right. How much time I got? Maybe 60 seconds? All right. So go in, find the graphic right here. Okay. Replace it with the super fog graphic. Where is it? Where is it? Here, replace, save, change, super fog. How much time we got? I don't know. There it is. And we have, 25 seconds. Lots of time. Beautiful. All right, let's take this. We are good. All right. You're in Washington State? Oh, yeah, that's what it feels like, Suncoast Skywarn spotters. That's a tough thing for me to say. Frisco, Texas is in the house. Dave, how you doing? We are back in. How you doing, everybody? Welcome back on The Spot, which you may have not heard. We are the official broadcast partners of the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm sure you probably have heard it from time to time. We are extremely proud to be the partners. And I would like to say that the reason the Bolts have gone 19-1-1 in the last 21 is because of that relationship with the Spot and DPL. Well, yeah, we'll take credit when it's like all the weather people. When it's nice, we take the credit because you know we get the blame when we're wrong. And if that ever happens that we are wrong, we will take the blame. 31 years ago, Halloween. Oh, I remember that one. All right, so we were talking about super fog, all right? Dave in Frisco, Texas, flying in for some spring training. Nice. Pitchers and catchers have already reported. It's amazing. All right. What is super fog? And is this one of those things? Because you guys know me. I hate the terms bomb cyclone. I hate all the drama-filled terms. This, you can argue, is a drama-filled term, but it's been around for decades. And what it is a combination of fog and smoke. Now, some people say, well, isn't that smog? Valid point. Smog and fog sounds like, or rather fog and smoke sounds like smog, but the reality of super fog is something very different. When we get a high number of brush fires and that smoke is extreme, that's when conditions warrant where we really start to see ridiculously dense fog. And if you remember back in 2008, I-4, there was just a massive pileup in Polk County. And I'm going to be honest with you, I was not familiar with the term. The Weather Service talked about it back in 2008, and that's when I first became aware of it. But boy, it was a thing. That was not super fog this morning. when you have super fog, you literally cannot see your hand in front of your face. And unfortunately, that's what it was like back in '08 when we had that massive pileup on I-4. We don't have quite enough fires burning yet with the fog for it to actually become at that point, but I'm afraid as we go more into the spring, we will. So it is something we're going to have to watch closely. All right, let's look. That is super fog, the term super fog, as opposed to Superfly, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, RIP. Better, that is an old school professional wrestling name. All right, here is a look at, get the right mouse here. Here is a look at the GFS. GFS tomorrow, GFS Saturday morning, 7 a.m., 1 p.m. Saturday afternoon, 7 p.m. Valentine's Day night, rain nowhere near us. Even Sunday morning, 7 a.m., rain nowhere near us. The rain does not move in until overnight, Sunday night into Monday morning, rain on Monday morning. That is the GFS. The euro is significantly faster. Here's the euro, 9.99 millibar low across the deep south, 7 a.m. Sunday. 1 p.m. Sunday, still northwest, but look at those showers out ahead of the front, possibly near the coast. From 1 to 7, that is when the rain arrives. So the odds are certainly in favor of Daytona that that rain will arrive after race time. They absolutely are. In fact, I would say if you were putting odds on it, you might be looking at, I don't know, 70% likelihood that it's not going to be a problem. But it is still something we have to watch. All right, we got one, so there you go. One more break. We're in for our last segment, and we'll be back as DPL continues. I thought we had one more break. We had one more break. Wasn't sure. So marine layers out in California. When I worked in LA, Red, that was always what we called it. In San Diego, it was called the marine layer. It's just fog. Anna Marie, I do. I still have PTSD over that. You're right. Denise, you guys know it. You guys know it. Yeah, David, that's what it was. It was super fog back January 9th in 2008. So, yeah, I was really late on that one, Mary. You're right about that. We've literally only got like a minute and a half left in the show. It's just what happens. I just, I gotta go. And I just get on these tangents. I spent 10 minutes in the first segment talking about the race thing. But I'm trying to protect y'all. And I'm saying it again. You go early, I'll be good. But if you get in the middle of that craziness from like 3 or 4 o'clock, I wouldn't do it again. I would not do that again. I had fear for my kids because there were so many people wanting those little glasses and everything else. It was craziness. All right, we are back in 5, and we only have a minute left. 4, 3, 2. Welcome back to The Spot. Dennis Phillips live on a Thursday night. Again, reminder, we have a dense fog advisory in effect for coastal areas. All right, that's in effect until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. And the rain chances will be returning. There were a few showers out there inland and off to the east side of the state today, but most of the rain will be falling later on. Temperatures right now in the 60s. And again, we do have that dense fog advisory as visibilities tomorrow morning will be extremely low, down near 0. All right? So tomorrow night we will be on normal time. We will have a much better idea about the exact time for rain in Daytona, as well as our forecast for the weekend. Be careful in the morning with the fog. Have yourselves a great night. As always, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate your loyalty. And we will see you tomorrow night on our next edition of Dennis Phillips Live. Have a good night. All right, we hit the break. We are out at 58. All right, so what? Portugal. Krista in Portugal is in the house. How you doing? Krista, so I'm very curious. How did you find our chat? How did you find this live? Let me know on the story, like post about that. because I would love to know how Portugal ended up here. I mean, we do have some international viewers. We definitely do. But that's a new one. So I'm kind of curious. And Joel's like, a 500 without a rain delay? Maybe. Maybe. Charlotte, I did see that I-4 eyesore on Jeopardy. That was very funny. I didn't realize that was such a common thing. I did not know that. So you're on Facebook, Krista. I get it. But how did you, I guess my question is, how do you know of me to watch from Portugal? I mean, are you from hurricane season, or do you have people that live in Florida, or do you want to know if it's going to rain at Disney World? I mean, these are questions, all of which come into play, I think. So, Cindy, how you doing? Nice to see you. And let me see, what else we got? Cruz Mike, how you doing? You know what, Mike? I am kind of working on it. I don't know the rules. There's all these rules and stuff. I mean, if a bunch of us just said, hey, we're going to go on a cruise together, and we did that, I think I'm okay with doing that. But I think if we actually had a organized DPL cruise, I'm sure there would have to be approvals all up and down because, just because that's the way it is. Like if Mike calls Jules, and Jules calls Bridget, and Bridget calls Anna Maria, and Krista flies up from Portugal, and Skywarn Spotters comes in from wherever, and David in Frisco, Texas comes in. All these people from all over, if we just all met up, like, hey, let's meet up at the port for a 5-day cruise or whatever, we would be okay. But I don't think it would work out that way. It would be fun, though. Yeah, Mike, we could have T-shirts that had Thing 1 and Thing 2 on it. That would work. Like, I could be Thing 2, you could be Thing 1, and anybody else could be Thing 3, 4, 5, 6. But it would be fun. It would absolutely be fun. Matthew, I think you're going to get another freeze in Citrus County before the winter's over. I don't think you're done with them yet. I don't think we're done with them yet. Maureen and Trinity, how you doing? Good to see you. I did not see that story, Joel, but it makes sense. So Krista, you're from Tampa Bay? Or you're writing in very short answers, and I'm not sure. Ariel is on vacation in Clearwater. Okay. Hi, Dennis. One in, Dennis. On vacation in Clearwater Beach with the complete wash today. Will the fog be any better? Not tomorrow, per se. A little bit better tomorrow. Much better on Saturday and Sunday. Okay? Cindy is Cindy Lou Who. Julian, I agree with you 100%. However, here was the way that played out. She's from here. Okay, thank you, Skywarn Spotters. So those graphics were made for all script stations, every station. So, and they all use the same graphics because they all wanted to use the same graphics package. So I was part of the process to not create, because I have not an artistic bone in my body. I am the least artistic person on planet Earth. But I was involved in what should be on and whatnot. And the person who made them, I think, was from out west. And the graphic artist that we had. And I think that they just think of fog as evergreen trees. And, you can't put a palm tree because if you're in Milwaukee, then that's going to look silly too. So I think they just tried to make a icon that would be as uniform as it could be. Now, I would have just argued you don't put any trees in at all. Just put some fog in there. But that's not what happened. Okay. Fog is rolling in, Maya. Yes, it is. We already have dense fog advisories. Here, let me show it. Where is the graphic? Who's doing treat night tonight, I wonder? I wonder who is on treat night. Where is that alert? Should be right here. Okay. So, this is where the dense fog advisory is in effect. I am really curious to see if that copyright thing comes up because I did not play the music of Brass News, which we pay for the rights. If you missed the beginning of the show, I literally went on a rant for a good 3 or 4 minutes because I keep getting these copyright dings from Facebook. The minute the show ends, I'll go into my thing, and I don't have copyright infringement. I'm like, no, I don't. We pay for this music. The station pays for it. And I dispute it over and literally every day for 6 months. I'm going on a rant again, but that's how mad it makes me. So today I decided, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with this graphic. And then from there, I run the commercial, which I ran the commercial, and then I bypassed the music, and then I ran the show open. But the show open does have that music a little bit in it. Here, listen.
Streaming from the Tampa Bay 28 Weather Center in Studio A, this is Dennis Phillips Live. Brought to you by Storm Smart. Protect every opening of your home. And Generex Generators. Life is primitive without power.
So it's got the music, but it's hidden with the guy talking. So I'm going to be curious to see, and at some point they'll make me a show open that doesn't have the music that gets me copyright infringed. At some point I'm not going to be able to go on Facebook anymore. They're like, you have 17,000 copyright infringements. You can't do this anymore. So I really need this fixed. All right? I'm playing to the masses. I need this fixed. Dorothy, how you doing? Yeah, well, Eric, I already ran that open once, so I don't know. I'll be curious to hear what happens again. All right, so anyway, that's it, guys. Dense fog advisory, I'll show you one more time. In the area that's shaded, dense fog advisory, all of Pinellas County, western Hillsborough, and Manatee. And I would not be surprised. Yeah, Charlotte, you're right. I played it twice now, so we'll find out, I guess. But it's hidden with the talking, the guy's voice, so maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, there's no customer support. You're darn right about that. So there it is. I think that will be increased later tonight. The fog will probably not be just in that area, but the reason there's an advisory now is because they already have visibility that that's low in those areas. Let me see. Mike's still talking about the cruise. Mike is still talking about the cruise. Mike's like, let's do it. Mike, I'm telling you, I'm with you on this, my friend, but I think I'm going to have to jump through some hoops. All right, here's a look at the current visibility. Well, it's really not showing much fog yet. I was going to show you guys some of that fog, but at this point, it's really not showing too much. Yeah, Ryan had that music. You're right. Ryan did have that music. We could use hers, although you know what? Ryan would probably hit me for copyright infringement, knowing Ryan. Hey, Dad, I'm going to hit you with copyright infringement unless you increase my allowance. That girl would do it, too. I'm telling you. All right, guys, that's it. I'm going to get some dinner. And tomorrow, I'm going to be doing the 3, the 4, the 5, the 5:30, the 6, the 7, the DPL, the 11. And then apparently, I'm going to be working. I'm looking about, you're going to laugh at this. I'm kind of looking at maybe designing a DPL shoe, a sneaker, or a rule number 7 sneaker. Shh, don't tell anybody. Kind of thinking about it. Kind of thinking about doing a rule number 7 sneaker. So we'll see. I'm going to start. I have a little thing to talk about tomorrow with that. So we'll see. We'll see how that works. And if it goes well, you know, we could donate it to charity like we do all other stuff. But the sneaker's a new one. So I'm gonna be thinking about it. I'm gonna be working on that, and I'll let you know how that goes tomorrow. So you guys have a great night, and I will see you on tomorrow night's edition of Dennis Phillips Live. See you guys. Have a good night.